Well, hello everyone. Semper Wi-Fi here with a sort of unusual kind of video in that it's a little more normal. I want this to be an introduction to my map that I'm building, and since people may want to access it more for technical reasons, I'm going to forego some of the artistic choices I make on the other videos. This is a map that I've been building based on a real location down the Potomac River. It's a place down about an hour or so from Washington D.C. Along the Potomac River, where there's Virginia on one side and Maryland on the other. So we're on the Virginia side right now. We're looking at. I didn't do much prop work on this map, we're looking at a little prop work I did of putting in a little camper and a car and just a little table out here near the river. And this is just a little Easter egg for fans of George Pelecanos, a DC mystery novelist or crime novelist who, one of his books, Nick's Trip, the protagonist, Nick, it's not Pelecanos, it's Nick Stefanos. Yeah, so he gives it a slightly different Greek name. He goes on a trip with his friend Billy down here, and they get insanely drunk and do a lot of drunk driving, which I don't condone for the record, and end up passed out here. And a dog finds a dead body and all this stuff. And not to give away too many spoilers, but that's kind of what I did here was put a little trailer out in the wilderness where Nick and Billy drove down from DC to feed their vices. So let's zoom out a little bit here. I took the terrain for this map from the terraining.atelier.nanta website, which I think I trust. It's a little hilly, it seems to me, but I did go into the USGS website today, and there's a little terrain in the area, so I guess it's maybe onto something, or maybe it's mapping feet topography lines from USGS's meters. I don't really know, but that is the overall shape of the coastline is pretty much 1-to-1. I've got an image overlay lined up here for Colonial Beach, so you can see that's pretty good there. The image overlay mod is really helpful for laying down the road network. So my approach to this, I like building county builds, if you want to call them that, where there's not a huge amount of preceding infrastructure. What I've done here is come in and built Highway 3, Route 3. So that's US 3. This is cutting. Let me turn off that mode, the visual mode. So the Route 3 is this highway cutting through along here, and it actually kind of goes around off the map and that way. And then the rest of these highways, I don't have them marked or labeled, but they're Virginia Highway 218, 205, and 631. So that's all I built. There's another one in real life that cuts across, I believe, about here, kind of zigzags, curves its way through here. I thought about building that and decided against it. I put a fair amount of time into putting these highways more or less where they are in real life. That said, because it's my play style to rip up all the streets and the roads and just do whatever I want, I won't be offended or anything at all, or I didn't build any huge grandiose like highway junctions. So if you want to kind of build true to life, go for it. If you don't rip everything up, it's totally fine. There's only one kind of big town in this area that I've picked, and it is Colonial Beach, which actually I'll get to in a minute on this series, is what I'm going to be doing. It's kind of on this peninsula, this long peninsula here. Other than that, there's some, I mean, you're only an hour from DC. There's some development. There's a lot of kind of rural houses along the highways. There is some small industry and that kind of thing, but there's not a huge city already. One of the things about some of the maps on the workshop and what kind of drove me to want to do this project myself is that it's easy and more natural if you're building a map to download the topographical lines from that website I mentioned, or at least it's a good starting point. But people tend to pick real locations. Why is this so sandy? Oh, it's just a distance thing. People tend to pick real locations, and I always feel a little funny if I download, the map of Amsterdam or something. Not building Amsterdam, but I've kind of had this spiel before in a video. But I also feel funny not building Amsterdam. Or I don't know if I said, but anyway, either way, I don't really want to build Amsterdam, and I don't want to build something that's not Amsterdam on a site that is clearly that. So this map gives you the opportunity to kind of say, okay, what if we were going to build a big city an hour down the river from DC? Now, in real life, the Potomac is a very shallow river, even as you get close to the Chesapeake, which is that way, by the way. When the river getting smaller up here, that's upstream. DC is that way. So it's a very shallow river. In real life, they would have to do probably an unrealistic amount of dredging to do really heavy shipping. That's why Baltimore is kind of, if you go out to the Chesapeake and turn left, it's up that way. That's what Baltimore's there for. But this is a game, so players, I didn't build in an external water route, but I don't even think you need mods to do that anymore. So that is very possible on this map. In terms of external connections, start with roads. There's this road here, which is, that's 218. Got another one here, which is Ridge Road, which is 205. That's 205, this is 218. This is Route 3 here. This is a much bigger throughway, and then that is also Route 3. So you have Route 3 continuing through. And then 631, I think that's the one closer. This is probably 631 right here. But that's not an external connection. So that's what you've got there. Built a rail line. So this is, trying to think about how this would function in real life. There is no rail coming through this little area, but it's really not all that far away. Up the to the west, kind of due west of orient myself. Due west of Colonial Beach. So this way, there is a waste management facility that has rail going to it from the Interstate 95 corridor. So that's one option. If somebody, realistically came in, it could come from over there, or cross the Potomac. Sorry, the Rappahannock is this river over here. Cross the Potomac, kind of like here, basically. It's really not far from the building area. In Maryland, there's it was just recently decommissioned. The Morgantown generating station. It had been around since the 70s, combination of both coal and power generation capabilities. And that also had rail running to that facility. So with both of those in mind, I created a stub line that people can totally just rip up. But I created a stub line and kind of tried to work with the terrain a little bit, doing a little cutting and filling, as you can see. Created a rail line that's just a suggestion that snakes its way through. There's a little viaduct there, and I get kind of close to the starting tile. The starting tile is where I have this road coming in off of what. By the end of this series, I'll know all these off the top of my head. Whatever state road that is, and this power line. That's where the starting tile is. I don't play with tiles, so it's not. You can't see it, but that's what it is. Now, a spur of that line I built goes to where you can put in. This is big enough for. I can't remember which one's bigger. Oh, I just noticed something I need to edit. Making maps for, or taking notes for version 3 of this map. That'll be the one I eventually upload after this test. Let's see. Note number 1. This has room either for a coal or gas power plant, up to you, or neither. But the site is prepped, and this layout is inspired by, but not a duplicate of the Morgantown, not West Virginia, Morgantown, Maryland generating station, with kind of rail lines running around and spurs and different points to switch and that kind of thing. So that is the idea with the rail and the power, is that if you so choose to do that, you can use that. Or running near this facility, I have just vanilla power lines, which go to an external connection on the edge of the map. So that's another option. And then those go by that facility and run all the way to the starting tile. We got to talk about resources. Places without trees are where there are resources. This is not true to life. In some sense, all of this land could be farmed, probably, unless it's polluted. I'm not totally sure about how realistic the ore placement is. I'm not aware of any large ground oil reserves, but I do want the game and the map to be playable. So that is the resource placement. So overall, this map, I'd say, is really designed for modders. This is designed for people who play without tiles, especially. Probably tile upkeep fees off. On vanilla maps where there's not nearly this many resources, your tile upkeep fees aren't that much. But all this increases tile upkeep fees. I turn that off because I think it's kind of a stupid mechanic. That's who it's really has in mind. That said, I built all of this vanilla. There's no, this is my first map, so I guess I need to follow through with all the rest of the admin of it. But to my knowledge, I don't think there should be any dependencies. So a vanilla player could play with this. But here's why they probably shouldn't. So this is what this junction looks like in real life. There's no lights. There's no nothing. It's just, it's more heavily wooded than that, but I don't want to kill everybody's graphics cards. Let's see. I have a level crossing, which is fictional. That's just something I did, but I think if it's as rural and sparsely populated as the map is at this point, I think building a giant rail viaduct there is pretty unlikely, just to bypass a little car traffic. So that's one highway junction. This one, again, you just have a turn lane and that's it. True to life. Highway 301, again, with this one, where's 301? This is 301. 301, I went down to Street View and looked. And again, you basically got some turn lanes. There is another road that goes off this way, so there are additional turn lanes, but I didn't build that road into the default map here. But there are stoplights, so I put stoplights in. But that's it. So when traffic starts backing up after, I don't know, 10 or 20,000 population, you know, this is going to need to be revisited for sure. So that's why I think you could play it vanilla. I'm not sure how well that'll go for you in the long run. I would say if you're on the PC, which I guess everybody is at this point in CS2, just turn off tiles and turn off tile upkeep fees and just build wherever you want. It's so much more enjoyable than having to buy tiles. But anyway, so that is kind of who the map is built for, but I think anybody could basically do it. In terms of, this is going to be a pretty short-lived series. I'm not going to put everything I do on a video because it's just going to be plopping, but I am going to build the town of Colonial Beach because I want to progress through a couple winters and see how the water mechanic functions with variable streams turned on. So the water features mod, you can have variable streams. So when the snow melts, you have more. When the snow melts, you have more water in your streams. I will be building Colonial Beach kind of true to scale, and so I'm going to use the image overlay mod. So I'm going to take a quick break, but the second part of this video is going to be just tracing the streets. I don't think it'll take that long. I'll be back in a sec. And we're back. So like I said, I'm using the image overlay mod to just superimpose this image, and I'll draw in some of the streets, and I'll probably not really talk much through this, and just kind of knock it out and do in my usual style. Instead of a time lapse, just do a bunch of jump cuts, and I don't know, maybe I'll play some weird crap over the top of that too, just to keep people guessing. So be back in a minute with that. A quick note after talking about the image overlay mod. Like I said, this terrain's a little hillier than at least Colonial Beach is in real life, so I'm gonna basically flatten this out. I checked the USGS website, and there is some slight variation in heights. You know, there's a couple topographical lines on kind of like the island itself, but it's basically flat. So I think I'm just gonna kind of, at least for the area, Colonial Beach, there's another development down here on this peninsula, but that's not part of the actual legal town. Because part of what I want to do, I forgot to mention, is to part of this is testing the city skylines population, how realistic that is. So I know the city boundaries of Colonial Beach, and I'm going to build the exact number of houses, and I know the population. So we'll see after that if the population is more or less or roughly accurate. The population, I think, is about 4,500. Now I'll get to work. Hi, can I have another three with the mayo? Can I have another three with the mayo? Bread? Can I have another bread? Mayo? Hi, can I have another bread with the mayo? Can I have bread? Forgot I don't have highways. I can just convert the state road to a local road. Actually, the main thing I want to do here is delete most of this so I can get a flat segmented in. It was a little lumpy and bumpy. Topo Chico lines. Okay, last but not least, we need to get rid of George and Billy's setup here. Just not George, Nick. Nick, I gotta warn you, Billy, he's lying. He's not telling the truth. Okay. So, I put those props in just to have kind of a reason for why this highway would exist. I mean, not just for those two people, but some kind of campground over here. Same with this. I wanted to build the highways going on to this part of the coast, this part of the river. So that's why I did that. But I will delete that away. So now we've got a flat area to work with. Some of these will probably become alleyway roads later, but I can make that modification when the time comes. Doesn't get.
Beneath the silver glow of moonlit skies, the chupacabra roams with gentle tread. No hunger dries the kindness in its eyes, nor thirst for blood, but friendship instead. Its jagged spines, once meant to stoke dismay, now glimmer soft like dew upon the grass. It greets the night with laughter, not dismay, and lets the terrors of its legend pass. Where farmers feared their flocks might disappear, now trails of joy and wonder mark its path. The ghosts, unscathed, draw closer without fear, as peace replaces long-forgotten wrath. A friendly beast beneath the starlit dome, the chupacabra turns the wilds to home.
This is like jazz without the music. Quarter done, maybe a half, or a quarter, maybe a third. I need to modify the shoreline a little here. Part of the reason for this is probably image overlay not being the exact right scale, the exact right zoom. And then the other reason might be that in terraforming to get the with the city Skylines water mechanic, things are kind of gnarly looking along the shorelines, that I had to do some, just what you're seeing here, just kind of fudging around with stuff to make it look right. So that's probably why that is, but no big deal to fix on the fly.
I feel like I'm having a dream, but better.
All right.
Why am I here?
All right. Before I move on to the other half of the island, let's make sure this is done. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Later on I can go come back and fix it. And then as if bare buildings blocks. Some kind of stick of gum, gift card, lemon tree, old tomatoes, gift card, stick of gum, please. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think in general, that's where I'll leave it today. Turn off all these. So we got the grid set up here for Colonial Beach, Virginia. There might be a couple little alleyways or streets missing that I will put back in as I go block through block. I'll probably just do it all off camera and then upload later, unless there's an immense public outcry and people demanding Semper Wi-Fi. You have to put all that footage online. You have to record. You have to go back in time and record it and put it online so that we can watch you do it. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that because it's just plopping buildings, which is going to be pretty boring. I'm not going to pay that close of attention to anything except for the size of the house. Again, to all the thousands and thousands of Colonial Beach Virginians who see this, I'm sorry if I got your house wrong. We have a pretty limited lineup here to choose from. But yeah, I'll probably put down the buildings and stuff as kind of phase 2 of this. And maybe update after that, but then phase 3 will be Colonial Beach has a ton of little piers all throughout where people have their boats or whatever, or go fishing. So those will be purely decorative in city skylines, but I will go through and do those at some point. So that is the end of this video.